Feel like you're drowning when you're producing your podcast because all of this editing work every single week to do that on time is driving you absolutely crazy and part of you wants to quit? Well, we're going to fix that today. And my name is Vince Quinn. I'm your executive producer here on It's Not Just Talking to help you improve your production processes, sharpen your podcast strategy, and build your hosting skills so you can put more time back into your business. And with all of this production stuff, there's going to be a couple of different tips that I have for you today, but it all starts with the idea of building a buffer. And what is a buffer? Well, a buffer is space between the episode that you are releasing to the public and the number of episodes that you have ready to go. So let's say you're a weekly podcast, right? And a lot of business shows are. Well, then you should work towards having at least 4 episodes as a buffer, meaning that if you were killing it, right? You're in a great situation. You could go on vacation for a month and you could still drop an episode every single week and not even think about it because they're done, recorded, scheduled. All the social clips are ready to go. Like everything you need is just done. The buffer is so important because otherwise you are chasing. You want simplicity, you want relaxation, and by working with the way that release timeline is really, because you feel like, hey, I got to get it out for Tuesday, when instead you're saying, I need to be worried about Tuesday a month from now, it gets a lot easier because you do have time to adapt. And that's what it's all about. How do you give yourself space to operate? Because you are running a business, you have a lot to do. It gets incredibly busy. And while the podcast is valuable, you can't always drop everything that you're doing or ignore clients or sales calls or whatever it is to go and work on the show. So you need to build up the buffer and always work on keeping that buffer there. So if it turns out that for whatever reason you go away for 2 weeks, so now you've burned 2 episodes in the buffer, you only have a 2-episode buffer, that's okay. But what you're going to want to do is start working on building it back up. So let's talk a little bit about some of the ways to do that, because obviously with the buffer, it's about recording ahead of time. But what you should also consider is recording multiple episodes at once. A lot of times when people are doing a podcast, they will decide that, okay, well, it's a weekly show. I'm going to do a weekly recording, and that is the recording that goes out the next day. Totally get it. Makes a lot of sense. But then you start missing episodes and getting the stress and everything we've talked about. So what you should do is when you're recording, especially when you need to build up the buffer, just do back-to-back episodes. Plan 2 full episodes. If you're a video podcast, maybe a change of shirt or something like that, just to give you a different visual so it doesn't look like you just did those 2 episodes together, a little variety. But that's what you want to accomplish is record multiples if you need to, and that allows you to build that buffer back up. The last thing that you want to do here is you want to record evergreen episodes. So this is really important when you're talking about filling the gaps in your production schedule and building the buffer back up. Because what might happen is, and this is especially true for shows that are typically based on current events. Like if your business, for example, is based on things that happen in the news, then it's harder for you to record ahead. You might be listening to this and go, well, this doesn't apply to me. And to some degree, you are right, because you need to be timely with here's what is happening in the news. Here is this trending thing that's going on. Like you need to be on top of it. So your production process is a little bit different, but you are going to go on vacation at some point, right? And so you do want times where you have episodes that can fill the gap anyway. So that's where these evergreen episodes come in. And for me as a business owner, like I have flexibility because a lot of things that I talk about are generally evergreen. So for you, it might be that your business is also just full of evergreen stuff, right? Like everything you talk about is basic business principles or certain things about marketing, like whatever you've got going on that you do. Some people, you will not have this problem at all. And other people, it will be pretty much all you do. Think about a topic that can be played at pretty much any time. So if you're going to be gone in July, or you're going to be gone in February, or you're going to be gone in November, It doesn't matter. It's not worried about that specific time. It's just about, is this good information or not? And for your business, what are some things that people can always use a reminder on, regardless of what the situation is or what the current events are? That's what you're looking for. So then that way you record these episodes, you have these evergreens in your back pocket. If things go wrong in your production schedule, if you have a co-host and they can't make it, or you get sick, or whatever can happen, then you've got something you could say, well, no problem. We're just not going to do it this week, and we're going to put out the evergreen instead. So think about those. And if you use that evergreen, then your goal should be, okay, we need to record another evergreen now that we used one to build that buffer back up. So that's the way you want to think about all these things. But it's basically, you want to record ahead of time. You want to record multiple episodes at once if you have to. I'm encouraging you to do shorter episodes. So many people are fixated on, 40 minutes, and that's the standard. I mean, I get it, and there's a lot of value in those episodes, but it depends on what you're talking about and who you're talking to. We do, 10-minute episodes? It's been very short on this show, and that's with intent, which means if we need to record multiple episodes at a time, I could do 4 episodes. If I was really well prepared, right, and I wanted to do this, I could do 4 episodes in an hour. So can you do that, and how do you get to that point? But you want to be able to record multiple episodes and give yourself cover in that way. So if you're recording ahead, you're recording multiple episodes, you're recording some evergreen episodes as well, that's going to give you a really strong buffer, and it's going to give you the opportunity to not sacrifice things that your business needs to be rushing around like a crazy person to go and get your podcast posted. So I hope this gives you a good perspective on how you can space this out a little bit more, how you can breathe easier. You're doing the same things that you're already doing for the editing and planning and all that stuff. It's all the same. You're just doing it earlier than you typically have been compared to, your production day and your release date. So hope this helps. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to It's Not Just Talking. Make sure to subscribe wherever you're checking out the podcast. And if you want us to help on your podcast, go to sbxproductions.com or check the show notes to book an appointment.